All right, so we got a Restart Real Talk today. Super excited about our guests. We have a power couple. We got the one and only Shawn Johnson and Andrew East coming in. And before we get into it, if you haven't been to a Real Talk before, the whole purpose of today is really to discuss prominent individuals who achieved a ton of success in how they got there. Struggles they endured, things they overcame, and lessons they learned that we really couldn't find anywhere else but through their experience. So I'm going to give these two an intro here. Honestly, if it would take me 30 minutes to say everything these two have done. But let's start with Shawn Johnson. So she's a former world-renowned Olympian. She's won a gold medal and 3 silver medals in the 2008 Beijing Olympics. In addition to these 4 medals, Shawn has won an additional 9 gold medals and 3 silver medals in the World Championships, Pan American Games, and America Cup. On top of it, she's published 3 books. She's an entrepreneur, and she was a Dancing with the Stars champion. So we're going to have to get some notes on that for Kaitlyn. And then we have Andrew East coming in. So Andrew East is a former NFL long snapper. He played on the Chiefs, the Seahawks, the Raiders, the Rams, the Jaguars, and in Washington. Former D1 football player at Vanderbilt College. He has his own podcast called Redirected. Does a lot of really cool things with that, similar to what we're doing at Restart. And he also co-manages a 1 million+ subscriber YouTube series called The East Family. And he's also the co-founder of Unicorn Coffee. So I'm going to bring these two on. Literally, these two are just kicking ass and taking names, so I'm excited to hear more about their story. So let's jump into it. I'm gonna start with you, Shawn. So from research I've done with many prodigy athletes at a young age, they're super hyper focused and dialed in with their skill set. So at a young age, did you know that your only focus was going to be gymnastics? And did you have Olympian gold medal on your mind?
Yes and no. So as a kid, like a lot of kids, I watched the Olympics and I was like, I want to go to the Olympics. I feel like a lot of people have those dreams. But when I was 12 years old, I actually qualified to the USA national team. So I started traveling internationally at 12. And from there, which sounds crazy to say because I was literally a child. But from 12 years old, that's kind of when I dialed things in and saw that it was more of a reality if I worked for it because I was already at the Olympic level. Yeah. And yes, I mean, every single decision I made on a daily basis, what I ate, who I hung out with, how I did school, my after school activities, everything that I did revolved around making the Olympic team.
That's amazing. And to do it by 16 and a half, that is just
yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
We're talking about professional sports, and Andrew, I want to kick it to you. Just the pressure, the anxiety associated with a performance-based, sport, knowing that you have to bring the heat every day and you could be cut tomorrow. How did you handle all the pressure with that?
Yeah, honestly, not well. My experience in elite level sports is a little different than Shawn's, where her talent and dedication was honestly, just your next level. And for me, it was I was always kind of a marginal type of player. Mm-hmm. And so I remember in high school, college, I never had any issues with overthinking things or this anxiety that came with performing on a field in front of 100,000 people. I didn't have that until I went to the pros. And I think my problem was I had never been in a situation where all I was thinking about was football. And when I'm in the pros, that's the only thing you have the time to think about is just your sport. And I think I just started overthinking things. I got better with that as I progressed in my professional career. From year 1 to year 5, my mental approach was way different. And so I'm thankful to have gone through that process and come out better on the other side.
Shawn, you talked a little bit about a young age, knowing exactly what you wanted. What are some things that you did to really prepare yourself and prepare? And then in addition to also being on the biggest stage in the world, how did you control all this time and one shot 4 years to keep it focused and stay dialed in to perform to your highest level?
Honestly, one of the biggest things they teach us and that we trained for with the Olympics is when it comes time to perform, at the Olympics on the biggest stage in the world.
Yeah.
The last thing you can think about is that you're at the Olympics. The last thing that you want your mind, comprehending and taking in is that it's the biggest stage in the world and you have to perform. So for us with preparation and performance, it was always the same thing. No matter what arena we were in, no matter what gym we were in, where we would practice, what we would do, it was always this visualization and this like repetition of how can I visualize and execute my performance the same exact way when everything else is changing, if that makes sense.
No,
so every time I was in an arena, no matter how many people, if there was one person or if there were 15,000, I would visualize myself at my home gym. Yeah. And it wouldn't be until I was done competing that I'd actually like take my blinders off and be like, holy crap, I'm in Beijing, China, and I just competed at the Olympics. I honestly didn't digest that until after it was over. And I was like, I don't know what I just did and how I did it, but this is pretty cool. My coach had this technique and this training technique that we did over and over and over every single day. Yeah. We would go into a gym and we would train and practice and do like our skills. But when we left, he would give us these assignments and this homework to visualize ourselves competing, how you're going to walk into arena, what you're going to think about, what you're going to look at. And there's like this weird parallel where if you try to picture yourself doing something perfect, your brain, for some odd reason, naturally wants to picture yourself failing or making mistakes. And it's just that doubt, that self-doubt that you naturally have in your body that's ingrained in us. Yeah. So the stronger you can teach your mind to become, to push out the negative and to push out those mistakes, it's whatever you picture yourself doing is what actually is going to come true.
So correct me if I'm wrong here, but 3 years in the NFL, 2015 to 18, and 6 different teams. Talk about being adaptable, different locker rooms, coaches, contracts, everything. Like when you are restarting from one team to the next, what did you do to like just perform through it all and be focused by all the detours and transitions?
At the end of the day, I think it was 8 teams over 4 years. And it was teams all over the country. I even played for the upstart football league, the AAF, the Alliance of American Football. And I think the one thing I did well was just I kept going. I kept persevering, probably foolishly in some cases, where it was like, I don't know if I have a chance at getting signed again. And then something crazy would happen, like an injury or whatever, and I would get signed again. So I think that was kind of what I was able to succeed with, was just keeping going, just like the persistence.
And so I want to bring back and transition over to you, Andrew. So you finished the NFL 2018, and obviously you guys have done so much since then. But what was that like transitioning from everyday Division I football, high school football, Vanderbilt, professional, 8 teams, 4 years, and then like football's done. I'm no longer, what was that like to transition? And what do you think like are some takeaways from your transition that almost like anyone could apply? Feel like they're in the wrong industry, wrong job, or the wrong company, they're doing the wrong thing.
Yeah, so I was fortunate to have an experience where I was kind of transitioning while playing as well. And I didn't have this perspective while I was in the moment, but like the further you get into elite athletics, or the further you get into whatever career, the harder it is to transition out of it. I feel like, just because you're all in on that, and that's what you're living and breathing every single day. And so, there's countless stories of athletes who played 15 years in the NFL, and then they leave and they don't know what to do. Because I was bouncing around so often, I was forced to explore other talents that I had. And it kind of started off as a hobby, where Shawn and I just started documenting, she was doing all these cool events and red carpets, and I was like doing these workouts with teams and signing and getting cut and like having these unique experiences. And so we started filming this stuff and putting it on YouTube. And that's kind of how we've gotten to where we are now, where we create media, and it's a blast, and it's way more fun than I think I would be having even playing football right now. So I think I've always come from the perspective, and I think a lot of people disagree with me on this, but there's kind of this mentality of like all in, like you don't have a plan B, right? Like burn all the other bridges and you have to focus on just one thing. I've never been like that. for better or for worse. That's probably why I didn't have more success in the NFL, is because I was always doing other things. But I think that it's become beneficial for me because now we've kind of diversified, like I wasn't just depending on football, and that set me up for success after.
That's a good process to go through. And so for Shawn, for you, one of the things you talked about is things that maybe aren't good for you. And so you attempted, and tell me if I'm wrong, but you attempted to go to Vanderbilt and then left Vanderbilt. So there's a lot of people that education's just that's just not their thing. They have other skill sets. They can deploy entrepreneurship or create something. So what kind of message would you have for someone who might be just like struggling with education, saying college is for me, this isn't right? Like what type of advice or guidance would you have?
I mean, we've talked about this a lot. I'm definitely an advocate for education. I think education is so important, but I do believe that there are different routes and paths you can take where college isn't necessary. So I had deferred college for 7 years after the Olympics because of gymnastics. I tried to make another team. And then I had already started my career. I was already supporting myself and my family early on. And in order to continue doing that, I couldn't take a break financially to go to college. So I kept deferring, and I got to a place with Andrew where I was like, okay, I love school. I want to go. I applied to Vanderbilt, got in. And then very quickly, my business schedule started booking up so much that I could not balance work. And it was just this conversation of, do I want this piece of paper to jeopardize my already pre-existing career, or vice versa? It was just a balancing thing. And I think for people who are struggling with the education side and the college side, I would just say, weigh your options. I think you can learn just as much, if not more, on the streets, just diving straight into business than you can in college. I do think there are some degrees you obviously need if you want to be a doctor or a surgeon or whatever. But I think there are so many different outlets where you can learn while you're working. So I think you just have to look at both things.
2 more questions for you guys. Shawn, I know, personal wellness and foundation is really important in creating success and happiness, whatever it might be. And you've opened up about body image and mental health struggles. So anyone out there that is dealing with either one of those, mental health struggles or body image struggles, do you have any advice for them as to how to cope with it and move forward?
Yeah, a ton. And I could speak forever on it. One, I think everybody has some sort of insecurity, has some sort of thing that they obsess about. There's something we all have. And it's nothing to be ashamed about. The best thing anybody can do is have a support group of some sort, whether it's your mom, your dad, your friend, your husband, your whoever. You need someone to talk to. Yeah. And you need someone to keep you accountable. So for me, Andrew's always keeping me accountable, being like, babe, I think this is like an insecurity coming out. We need to like either work on this, or we need to.
Those conversations go just as well as you think they do, Jason.
Yeah. But I think one of the greatest things I ever did was I worked with someone. So I would work with a nutritionist or a therapist. And again, it's kind of like the degree. I feel like there's this weird stereotype of, oh, there's something wrong with me and I have to feel shame to go hire help. And it should be the opposite. It's a precautionary thing, and it's something to educate you and equip you to fight off all those struggles that you're going through.
What advice do you have for people that want to build a brand and do something along the regards of media and stuff like that?
We've had so much fun doing this, and one thing I've realized is that for the good and the bad of social media, there is so much benefit to the fact that we can connect globally to these extremely niche communities, right? And there's millions of these niche communities out there. Like it could be Rocket League video game players in Indiana or whatever your thing is. Just realize that you do have a voice and you are talented at something, and you can share these talents. And there's other people out there who have similar things and similar interests. And so for us, we've been able to share different aspects of our life. And I think people have connected to our story with, career uncertainty. Ours is kind of on the extreme level and more public with being a professional athlete. But I think there's a lot of people that resonate with some of our message in that way. So it does take time to build. Realize that finding your voice and being comfortable on camera or on social media just like anything takes practice. So don't get discouraged right out of the gate. And I think just doing it for the purpose of community as opposed to like trying to build followers is a way healthier mindset.
Yeah, exactly. And I think some of the stuff you guys have done, when you open up and tell your story, it empowers other people and they want to hear more from you. You guys you're killing that. So, all right, well, we're going to wrap up. I do a rapid fire, so it's this or that, 5 questions, and then we're going to let you guys go. We really appreciate all your time, insight. Honestly, I've taken a lot away from this. I know most people have. I'm reading the comments and some really positive ones. So we're going to go with the first one. This one's coming from Kaitlyn, actually, and this is just for Shawn. What was more training for the Olympics or giving birth?
Oh, birth. Birth is more worth it, though. That's for sure.
I'm dying because we were debating. I'm like, train for Olympics had to be hard. Come on, 4 years. She's like, nope, I guarantee it's birth. She wins again. All right.
Yeah.
So I know you just released a new coffee, Unicorn. So do you prefer your coffee black or with cream? That's for both you guys.
I prefer mine black.
Cream.
All right. So how about, so you guys obviously have active Instagrams and YouTube. What do you prefer doing? Do you prefer the social media form of Instagram or YouTube?
Instagram.
You like Instagram. I like YouTube. You just have more time to work thoughts out.
Yeah.
It's longer.
It's a longer process though.
Yeah.
All right. So we're due to go out here soon, but if we go out, you going cocktails or you going wine?
Wine.
Cocktails.
You guys have wine. You and Kate have wine. We're gonna
Yes.
This is a parenting. This you guys have a beautiful baby, Drew Hazel. What's worse, changing poop diapers or cleaning up throw up?
Throw up.
Throw up. Dude, throw up. She'll rub her arms in it. She'll get her legs in it.
Yeah.
Poop, it's like, it's mostly in the diaper unless it's a wild day. Unless it's wild.
I love it. All the things we have to look forward to.
Yes.
Last but not least, if there's a next child, boy or girl?
It's going to be a girl.
I'd like a boy, but I feel like it's going to be a girl.
I feel like we're going to have all girls. Yeah.
Well, good stuff. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. Really appreciate it. Tell everyone where they can find you, what you guys have going on, and where they can get the coffee, things like that.
You can find just under Shawn Johnson and Andrew East for all socials, the East fam, YouTube, and then Unicorn Coffee. That's Unicorn with a Q.
Yeah.
We're sending you guys some.
Awesome. I can't wait.
Yes.
It looks good. I love the packaging on that Unicorn Coffee.
Thank you.
That's her.
Awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much. Really appreciate your time. And once everything clears up, let's get some cocktails and wine here soon.
Yes, please.
Jason, thanks for having us on, man. You did a great job.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. All right, we'll see you soon. All the best.
Yeah.
I can't wait for that coffee.
Good to
See
see
ya.
you.
All right, guys, take care.
Bye.